Hi, this is Bob Papa, voice of the New York Football Giants, and this is the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast.
Welcome back, Giants fans, to the latest edition of the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast. As always, proudly in association with Andy's Man Club. Lads, remember, it's okay to talk. Tonight, at the moment, we are 67% British, 33% Irish. But as always, we are 100% Giants. Shane might join us in a bit. He's running a little bit late, but we haven't got confirmation on him coming yet. So watch your space. Shane might be in, he might not be in. If he is, cool. If he's not, boo. Anything happen while we're away?
Just one or two things.
Oh, wait. Just a few. Yeah, one big blaring thing. It's the end of an era. We're going to discuss that later and everything that's happened over the last few days. And we've also got a game coming up this weekend, so we've got to preview that as well. We've got Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming to town this weekend. Kevin Craig with me at the moment. It's the beginning of the second coming of Tommy freaking Cutlets. That's how we're doing.
Yeah, not too bad. We'll get into all discussion points. Just glad to be on with you boys on a Friday night. I mean, cheeky little. It feels like a Big Blue UK and Ireland after hours session this evening. But let's get into it, I suppose.
Yeah, it's obviously been an interesting few days, sort of 72 hours. I guess that's when everything that really has been unexpected has happened in a way. The expected news obviously happened earlier, but it's been odd. Obviously, we haven't had a live show since the review last week, and obviously in between we had the Munich vlog, which if people haven't watched, I highly recommend you do, just because I edited that for a long time, but it has gone down really well from what I understand, and a lot of there's been a lot of good feedback on it, and it's really appreciative because it was an incredible weekend for us, but not just for us, obviously for everybody who sent me things. I received over 500 pictures and videos for that thing, and it took a lot to try and narrow that down into what we had, but I'm really appreciative of every single person who sent stuff in to us, and everyone who's watched it so far.
Yeah, man. If you haven't watched it yet, what are you waiting for? Go and watch it straight after this live broadcast. Get on it. You won't regret it. Full props to Craig for putting it together, because it's epic. It's
immense.
And it hits you right in the feels. It's like, what a weekend that was. Even though it didn't end particularly well with the result.
Yeah, I have to give Craig a massive shout out, mate. That's when you watch it, like you said, Dan. Talk about getting the feels. You're watching it; it's just bringing back such good memories, and it's just a really, really, really nice thing to have. And it's good that it's there on the YouTube channel now, so you can sort of store it and keep it and go back and watch it. And it's absolutely class. But I will just say one thing as well. Obviously, with everything that's going on today, get your questions, get your comments below. If we don't address it straight away, we will have a section where we come back and discuss things. So if anything you want to ask, you want to try and make sense of, or anything like that, just pop it in below, and we'll definitely get round to discussing it.
Yeah, man. It's obviously big news coming up today, over the sort of last week as well. So yeah, as many questions as possible, that'd be great. Also, it's obviously preview week, is preview day, preview evening. So game predictions as well. So get your game predictions in. So we want to see those at the end of the show. Hopefully, there's some positive ones in there. That'd be nice. But yeah, lots to get into this evening. There's a lot of news that's happened over the last week. But before we get into that, we are continuing our sort of opposition guest slot of the week, and we're going to be bringing in very, very shortly, in a second, I believe, Marianna from the Bucs UK Fan Club, and she's going to join us to talk all about her team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and give us a bit of an insight into what we can expect from them on Sunday. So There she is, as I speak. Marianna, how are you? Welcome.
Hi there. Thank you for inviting me to join you all tonight.
You are absolutely welcome, and it's great to have you on. And I believe the first female guest as well. So, thank you very much for coming. We really appreciate your time. And we've got a few questions for you to get a sort of better insight into your team, like I said, and so we can sort of know what to expect come Sunday. But as we've done with our guests we've had this season, the first question we've kind of always asked is why the team you follow. So why the Bucs?
That's okay. That's a fair one. We often ask the same around our group as well. No, for me, what happened is I was actually working out in Tampa for a couple of years. I was working in IT alongside the NBC station, WFLA Channel 8 in Tampa. And as such, they've got a very close connection with the Bucs. And at the time, this is dating back to sort of 2008, and we weren't very good at the time. They would often get given tickets, free tickets that they could share around the office. And they would go around the office and offer them to each of the regular staff members, and when they got through those, then they'd offer them to us contractors, and of course we were more than happy to
anyone that wants a ticket.
Yeah, absolutely, take a free ticket. And actually, fortunately, the first time I went to see the Buccaneers, it was against Green Bay, and we actually won that game. Came back from behind and won that game. So it's it spawned a love of the team ever since. So yeah, I've been following them ever since then.
Oh, nice. I think who's your head coach back then? John Gruden?
Yeah, I think it was the Gruden days. I'm trying to think because
I've
gone through. I don't know how many quarterbacks. I think at the time we had Leftwich as
Byron Leftwich.
We've had him as coach since. So yeah, we've gone through a few.
Yeah, very true. So obviously, having an actual link to Tampa, having worked there, and it kind of makes sense, really. I mean, why would you want to follow any other team after working and living in Tampa for a bit? So it makes absolute sense. I think it's you've had some ups and downs over the last few years. Don't get me wrong, you've had a few ups with Brady and Bruce Arians, and brought you a Lombardi back to the pirate ship, which was pretty cool. But Craig's going to kick us off with the first question. So over to you, mate.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of do something before the question, because one thing that Marianna did tell me is that her husband is a Giants fan. Is he suffering like we are?
Yes, he is. He's we're a house divided only really on the game days where we meet each other. Throughout the rest of the season, we're both fans of each other's teams and cheer each other's teams on. There's no massive rivalry between us, except on Sunday there will be, and that will definitely be a big rivalry. But yeah, I mean he's a devoted fan of the Giants. He's been a fan longer than dating back. I think far longer than I've been a fan even of the Bucs. So he's also gone through the ups, but yeah, unfortunately he's right there with you and struggling through it. But
there's been way more downs recently.
So if we look at the Bucs season so far, weirdly you're 4-6, but you have a really nice stretch of games after the bye. Only the Chargers have a winning record. You've got the Panthers twice, the Raiders, the Cowboys, us, and the Saints. Are you kind of set up for a bit of a playoff run now that the horrible part of the season is out of the way?
It's funny because we do a sort of pre-season a show where we do the sort of predictions, and we have a fan vote as well. So we see how our members think we're going to do over the season. And obviously coming up to the sort of pre-bye section where we had the run of the Ravens, the Chiefs and the 49ers, we all kind of felt it was going to be a tough sled into the bye week. We didn't expect, I think, so many injuries as well. It's good to see Mike Evans come back. So that's, I think, going to be kind of key. We've lost Godwin for the season. I think our difficulty is our division. We're going to struggle to win the division because we've lost the 2 against Atlanta. So essentially, at the minute, they've got what calculates as like a 3-game lead on us. They're 6-5, we're 4-6. So we've got to make those games up on them. I think, looking at it, if we lose 1, we're probably really going to struggle because we're looking at having to go in through a wildcard spot, really, unless Atlanta really self-implode towards the end of the season. So, I mean, all we can do, I guess, and I think we'd all say, is win out. Just go out and win our games. And then I guess it's anybody's because you don't know how the other teams around you are going to do. But we are in a very difficult position, having lost the 2 Atlanta games and lost them so closely as well. They were both sort of one kick, one play that lost us both of those games. So we're in a tough position. But if we can win out the rest of the season, I think we've got a hope. I think if we lose 1, it's sort of starting to look like it's out of the question this season.
Yeah, I think obviously Chris Godwin's injury was pretty horrendous, and obviously you wish him well, wish him a strong recovery. But having Mike Evans is back is key. But you look at Atlanta's schedule coming up; their schedule is not particularly easy. They've lost 2 in a row. They've got the Chargers coming up. They've also got the Vikings, Raiders, Giants, which is a guaranteed win for them probably. And they also then finish off against the Commanders as well. So they've got a tough slate coming up. So if you win out, stranger things have happened. I think there's definitely room for the Bucs in the playoff because I don't think you deserve to be 4-6 this season. I think you've played well in some of your games. But moving on anyway, I mentioned Bruce Arians. Obviously, his era came to an end a couple of years ago, and since then Todd Bowles took over. Obviously, he was DC and then took over as head coach. He's led you to back-to-back playoff appearances in the past 2 seasons, and this season could be the 3rd in a row. But what do you make of his tenure so far? And did you ever expect Baker Mayfield to play so well under him?
I kind of break that into 2 things, I think. I think Baker Mayfield has been a surprise to all of us. I think he was always worth the bet when we brought him in. He was in under a sort of prove yourself deal, cheap deal. And he was a player that was coming in with really nothing to prove. He was just coming in and play well and you might get a chance. But the Browns had, I think, treated him quite badly and then he'd kind of bounced around a bit. So I think Baker Mayfield has kind of proved himself just regardless, I think, of the coaching. And he's had to go through a number of offensive coordinators with us as well already. Yeah. And he seems to be playing, I guess, even better under Liam Cohen. I think we'd all say that offensively, we feel like our offense looks better under Liam Cohen than it has for a while. So, Baker, I think, has definitely proved himself and he's been superb. Todd Bowles, I'm one of these people that I don't like to sort of really go after the coaches. Particularly, it's difficult when they have taken you to the playoffs. But there's definitely unrest, and you hear it, on other forums or in other places, and you hear people sort of being a bit angry about Todd Bowles because he is still playing in that defensive coordinator role. He does still run that defense, and if anything, our problem has been on defense this season. And so there are sort of, there are sounds of unrest creeping in. I think, the pick of Liam Cohen as the offensive coordinator has probably bought him some more time. I think maybe if he stepped back from running the defense and brought in an actual defensive coordinator and stepped back and became a pure head coach, it might actually help the situation. I don't know. That might have to be his position. It was always going to be a difficult transition between Arians and Bowles because they're such different personalities. Yeah, I think rather than not just different, coaches. like Arians was a no risk it, no biscuit, pure attitude offense. Let's go for it on every fourth down.
Yeah,
if we don't make it, and fans love that when it goes right. But
it's exciting football, isn't it?
Yeah, they're actually quite forgiving of it. They forget it quite quickly when it does go wrong if it brings you success. Whereas a sort of softly, let's play very safely, carefully approach doesn't necessarily, win you admirers in football. People want you to be aggressive and go for it. And there's been a couple of decisions also, a couple of sort of clock management issues in the past couple of games. The decision not to sort of go against the Chiefs and sort of run into overtime and give them a whole nother go at us. A lot of people criticise that, so it's difficult. I don't like to criticise the coach. I can't do X's and O's. I'm not going to be better than him. But yeah, it's I don't see any reason at the minute that we would want to get rid of him personally. But I think it will very much depend how the end of the season goes. I guess he's definitely on a hotter seat than he has been for a while.
Also, I think if he does make the playoffs, it's very difficult to get rid of a coach that's made the playoffs in 3 straight seasons. But like I said, that if there seems to be a little bit of unrest, I mean, we're fully used to having unrest in the ranks in a team. So it's kind of, we know how you feel, sort of thing. But if there is unrest there, then maybe something needs to be looked into further. But yeah, I think he's definitely a very different coach to Bruce Arians, that's for sure. Craig, you're up next, I think.
Yeah, I've got Shane's question, which is all about offense. And we've just spoken about Baker and how well he's done. I think he's leading the NFL in touchdown passes, if I'm right, with 20, I think it is. So, he has had 24. Was that, Dan? Thank you. So he is doing well. Now, if you look back at the 49ers game, though, your receivers combined for 28 of the 116 yards, so not ideal. Bill, one of our followers, has put, "It's okay, Marianna. Young Shep gets to visit back home. He's happy. We're happy for him to see Shepherd playing as much as he is." But as we've already said, Mike Evans is back. How much of a boost is that, not just to the team, but also to the rest of the receivers that will get a little bit of heat off of themselves now?
Yeah, I mean, we can't really say how big a boost that will be. I mean, I suspect they're going to still play him a little bit gently. He's had sort of hamstring issues in previous years, so I don't like to see him coming off and coming back in too quickly. But we need him back. I think the double hit of losing Evans and Godwin. Losing one, you've still got that sort of experience within, and losing both was just such a blow. I actually agree with your commenter. Like, Shepherd has actually been quite a good little pickup for us, and I thought he would be when he came in because of the closeness also that he has with Mayfield from their college days. So that was always something that they sort of already had. But yeah, Mike Evans is going to be massive coming back for us. And we need that. Because if you look at our other receivers, we've not got a lot of experience in that wide receiver room. We've got Jalen Millen, rookie, still very much learning. And you can see, in some of what he does, that he's still learning the game. And then we've got players like, I guess, Trey Palmer, he's been around for a couple of years. He's decent. He's a quick guy, but he's not a number one receiver. He's not a Mike Evans, so you can put him in that spot, but that Mike Evans is going to be there to make that outstanding catch at times, or make that, and he just makes Baker Mayfield's job look easy at times. So yeah, I do think it's crucial for him to be back for this.
Yeah, and I think the 1 year I don't take Mike Evans in a fantasy draft is the 1 year that I'm having an awful season. He's a guaranteed baller. He scores touchdowns. And
I mean, I think the other thing, and you guys will know this as well, you can't be one-dimensional as a team, and I think very much the last few games we've focused a lot more on the run game, but then that, that's been figured out quite quickly, and we've moved away from it. And as you said, like for that 49ers game, our top receiver was actually, I think, Rashad White. So it was our running back. He'd got the most yards of all. So, you need to be able to have someone that you can stretch the field and that the teams will actually have a fear for and need to find a way to cover. And Evans will give us that. There will be times that they'll want to put maybe 2 on him to make sure, which opens up the field for everything else. So it's really, really critical that we have him back and we have someone that can open up for, to get our other wide receivers involved and hopefully make some space for the run game as well.
Yeah. Kev?
Yeah, just before I ask the question, I just want to say, I do have a little bit of a soft spot for the Buccaneers. I mean, ever since I've become a Giants fan in 07, they've always had such a strong sort of a connection over here, and the fan base over here has been phenomenal. And just to see some of the events you put on and the community that you've got, it's really, really good. But also, during COVID, my dad was the first Irish NHS worker to pass away. And I posted something on Twitter, and Chris Godwin got a hold of it and DM'd me privately and messaged me, a really, really nice message. But he also sent me over a signed football and a signed note as well. And I just thought, there was such a class touch, So ever since then, I've always had a bit of a soft spot for the old Buccaneers. Yeah, Chris Godwin. So again, such a good bloke,
I think you're right in the respect of there's a real family feel to the club. And I can tell you that, also from the point of being a Bucs UK fan, that the club has got, real personal links with the UK fan club. It's not just some sort of transactional thing. We've got real proper personal links, and it is a really family thing. They were really, great to us this year, but they've been great to us every year. And there's a lot of, special events and things where we get real close contact with, front office members and things like that, which I don't know that is necessarily replicated across the league. So we really feel lucky. And I think actually, if you look, they do a statistical thing where they do the sort of best fan experience of teams across the league. And I think the Bucs have often come out high up on that, and a lot of that is to do with our COO at the Buccaneers, Brian Ford, who any fan, any season ticket holder, anyone involved in the Bucs UK will all say is absolutely superb, and he's part of what makes the Buccaneers organisation as a whole so great.
Yeah, something that's so good to hear, and I don't understand why more teams don't do it. But anyway, back to the actual game on Sunday. Back to a bit of football. Sorry. I really like your cornerback room. I mean, McCollum's been playing so well this year. Dean is always a standout performer, and Tyke Smith has really come on in his rookie year. But why do you think the team is ranked 30th in pass defense? Yeah,
we've kind of been discussing this. And again, that kind of leads to where that unrest is with Todd Bowles a little bit. The sort of key highlight things that we would say is we play a lot of typical bend, don't break zone defense. There's always been this Tampa thing to do. So we'll sit 20 yards off, let them get the catch, but we're trying not to let them score the touchdown. We hate it as fans. It's awful. So
do we.
Yeah, it's absolutely awful to see, players getting 20, 30 yards. Even if all they get at the end of it is a field goal, it's just so, so painful to watch. So we give up a lot of yards in that respect, playing that sort of very soft zone. The other thing that we do is we blitz very heavily. And Bowles is a very blitz heavy guy. There's a lot of us that still have horror memories of the NFC Championship game against the Rams, and we blitzed on the last play where we should have probably just dropped back for once into that zone, and we blitzed and they threw over the top to Cooper Kupp. And that's the sort of thing that we will do, is we will blitz heavily And where we leave ourselves very open is not so much in the corners, but in that sort of middle linebacker area. Because we've sent everyone to the quarterback. And we've said, like, really, the linebackers this year is where we see the struggle. And in that sort of 10, 15 yard sort of area, just over the top of, the defensive, just over the top of the offensive line, like, you see this issue where they're getting in behind us. And I think you're going to see it probably on Sunday. Tracy catching out of the backfield because he's got quite good hands, and didn't he play as a receiver previously? So I suspect, that's where you'll have success. Probably Theo Johnson. Tight ends have a great deal of success against us because they get into that sort of spot.
There's so many similarities. It's uncanny. It's uncanny.
But yeah, I think that seems to be the difficulty. I was having a look at the stats. We've not got many interceptions, and I think that again goes to this thing where we're playing so much zone, or we're like 1 against 1. It's really difficult to get those interceptions when you've got everyone else blitzing all the time. It's frustrating to see, but I can't put it on the cornerbacks, as you say. We do have some talent in the cornerbacks, but they are also still a young group. Zion's in his 3rd year, and he has come on in leaps and bounds. Like, he's definitely not the player he was in that 1st year. He's improved massively this year, and you can see the improvement. He's reading the game much, much better than he was. But there's only so much you can do when there's potentially no help because everyone else has run past the quarterback and he's somewhere back there still. So I think that does feed a lot into why, because they're catching it in that middle and running for 20, 30 yards and we're getting burned.
I mean, I don't doubt that Baker Mayfield will have plenty of success in the box at the weekend, against us as well. Because, like I said, the similarities between these two defenses is uncanny, and it's almost like I feel like it should be Halloween because it's spooky. But it sounds like you're having very, very similar problems to what we are on defense, and that is, we're left in single coverage too often. We soft players, soft zone, and just. We have 1 interception all season, and that was by a linebacker, and that was off a tip pass. So it's not great reading so far at the moment for us either. But yeah, it's uncanny. It's almost like a Todd Bowles and Shane Bowen, the same person.
Yeah, I can definitely see the similarities in those defenses. I've got to say, I wouldn't mind having Dexter Lawrence. I wouldn't mind. You can send us him anytime.
This guy right here. I don't think anyone would mind having him. Best nose tackle in the league. I think you mentioned Theo Johnson. I think one of our viewers, Steve, mentioned K. Dotton. I don't think he's a real threat for the weekend because for the last 10, 15, 20 years plus, however long, we cannot seem to cover tight ends for love nor money. So I think K. Dotton can have some success against us. And I think he's your 2nd leading receiver of the season as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has a game. All right, then, before we sign off, last all-important question. What's your game prediction for Sunday?
Oh, that's that. I'm slightly worried. I'm in a room with and I've got my husband staring at me from behind as well. So, look, I insist that I never predict a loss for the Buccaneers, just because that's how I am on podcasts.
Nice.
So I do think we're going to be strong enough to beat you. I think our offense has probably got just a little bit more to be able to beat you. I think there's too much, but I do think DeVito brings an unknown quality, which is we do not defend well against like rookie or backup quarterbacks, and I don't know if it's just our sort of we've prepped for the other quarterback or what it is. So. But I'm gonna say the Buccaneers win it something like 27-14.
Okay,
I think you're gonna get some scores. I do think DeVito's gonna come in and score for you. I think the complexion of the game has changed a bit from where I was a couple of weeks ago, even.
Tommy Cutlets, watch out. Watch out. Sweet. Lads, anything else to add?
No, we're all good. Just want to say thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you coming on. We love this sort of aspect of getting the other teams' fans on and stuff like that. It gives us a real good insight as opposed to us just doing research and looking at stats and stuff like that. So thank you again for coming on.
No, thank you for inviting me. It was actually really nice to join, as you say, join other fans. From one of the things that we love is obviously just the NFL as it is, and 100%. We're such a small amount in the UK that it's, I'm sure that you guys have been to, say, the UK games. I don't know if any of you went to the Germany game, but when you're there, you're all fans. They're mixing with fans from every other team, and it's so nice to have the sort of camaraderie between just NFL fans at times. As I say, the rivalry will be on Sunday night in our flat, and we'll go back to being husband and wife again. But we'll have about 3 hours where it'll be.
Come 9:30, 10 o'clock, you're back to being husband and wife. But 6 o'clock, it's war. It's
exactly.
War. No, I really appreciate your time. Really appreciate you coming on. And thanks for being a great guest as well, Marianna. We really appreciate you coming on. Where can our viewers and listeners find you and your fan club on socials if they want to get involved or check you guys out?
Yeah, so you can find our forum and sign up. We're a members club, so you can find us at www.bucsuk.org. Must get that right. And then we're all over the various socials as Bucs UK, I think, on X. We're Bucs UK on TikTok, Bucs UK TV on YouTube. We're pretty much all over the usual. I think we're on Threads, and I think we're looking at Blue Sky and all the others. So
get on it. We're on there. We're on Blue Sky, so get on there.
Oh, excellent! Yeah, we'll look at that as well. Yeah, Instagram as well. Can't forget the Instagram lads. So we welcome, obviously, Bucs fans from around the UK. The more the merrier. We're about 500 at the moment. Nice. Just celebrating our 40th year, longest running UK fan club. So
that's amazing. And the fact that you've got the 40 jersey behind you as well, that tops it up quite nicely. Yeah, but that tops that interview off quite nicely. The fact that you've got the 40 behind you, it's your 40th year. You're doing fantastic work, so really appreciate the time.
And it's great, and obviously we'll be happy to join you at any other time. We again, it's an NFL family, so we love to join you all, and let's say good luck for the rest of the season as well. I hope it does work out. I don't know what you're wishing for, but I hope it does work out. I don't know.
Just something that's been better than the last 10 weeks would be an improvement, I think.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough being in that position, but we've all been there at times. So, I empathise.
You're not wrong.
I really do.
You're not wrong. But yeah, I agree. Football is family. And like I said, thanks for your time, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Cheers.
Thanks, Marianna. What a lovely guest. What a lovely guest she was. That's all. There you go. Bucs. That's all the Bucs for you. Bucs UK, check them out. Sound like a really great group and a really great bunch of people. So, it's going to be war on Sunday, like we said. But football is definitely family for sure. And I love that her other half's a Giants fan as well. He's sat behind the camera watching. But right. Now that's out of the way. That's during the bye week, because there's only been one major story, which we'll get into shortly, because we actually have a game to play on Sunday. The Giants come off the bye after that absolutely pathetic showing in Munich with a 5-game losing streak and a 2-8 record on the season so far, as we all know. We're yet to win a game at home, and we're scoring a paltry average of 10 points per game at MetLife this season. Go on, just wetting your whistle for the game on Sunday, right? But it's 5 straight losses that have led to that big change, and we welcome the Bucs to town, who are also fresh off that bye, like Marianna said, and looking to stop their own slumping form. They've lost 4 straight, but those 4 straight haven't come against teams like the Carolina Panthers. No. They've come against the Ravens, the Falcons, the Chiefs, and the Niners, who are all 4 contenders this season. You know, even though the Niners are on a bit of an off year, maybe, but maybe that's due to CMC not being fit. The game does have some added juice as well. Sterling Shepard's back at MetLife, and also Ben Bredesen. Whether that's a good thing or not, yeah. But they're both back at MetLife for the first time since both of them left in the off-season. Sunday will be the 26th meeting between the two teams since 1977. The Giants lead overall 16-9, and the last Giants win came against Tampa in Daniel Jones' first game as a pro, overcoming an 18-point deficit to win 32-31. And somewhat fittingly, we come up against the Bucs in the first game post-DJ. So we started DJ era against the Bucs, we ended the DJ era, and we're against the Bucs again. And on that bombshell, Craig, fill us in. What's been going on? We all know what's been going on, but let's get into it.
I mean, yeah, there's only one big talking point on offense, isn't there? And that's that Malik Neighbours is limited and potentially
he's groin injuries or something.
No. What else can we talk about? I mean, we've spoken about it for the entire season, and you get to this point where as a podcaster, and we've had these conversations privately, and obviously we're now opening it up to everyone else, like you get to that point where you're having the conversation with each other and you're like, do we have to talk about Daniel Jones again? Like, is there anything else? And it's really difficult to try and spin other things without talking about him. You know, we spoke about the red zone, but Daniel Jones is part of the red zone. We spoke about Tyrone Tracy and Devin Singletary, but you know, there's one person who's handing the ball off to both of them, and his name was Daniel Jones. So it's really difficult that, and I don't know, it almost feels in a little way like, I don't know, therapeutic, that this is potentially like the last time we will talk about him in depth. And I don't know. It's just.
You know,
I mean, Kev is wearing the DJ jersey as a mark of respect, I guess.
Last time I'll be wearing it, chaps.
Yeah, I suppose. So, yeah, full transparency. If this seems a little convoluted and a little rambly, it's because I've had to rewrite this about 4 times over the last 48 hours. So bear with me, because it was a roller coaster that we've had over those few days. And so as Steve said, are you guys not having a "This Is Your Life" special on DJ?
I mean, if that's what you want to see, viewers, we can arrange it.
God Almighty. So as Dan alluded to, there's been plenty of changes at the quarterback position. If you follow the Giants, you know about it. But let's have a look at the timeline and how everything's kind of unfolded, because we haven't had a live show since the beginning of last week, sort of mid last week. So it's been about 9 days. And a lot's happened. The Jones benching was originally leaked by Ian Rappaport on Monday morning. A lot of people have been talking about whether that's come from within the Giants or how that was, went to the national media before it kind of got out to the local journalists. But then later that day, Dable confirmed it in a presser. Also in that presser, he confirmed that Tommy DeVito is the starter over Drew Lock, stating that after evaluating a bunch of things and looking at a lot of tape and being around Tommy last year where he created a little spark for us, that's the reason we're going with Tommy. And I get it, because if you cast your mind back to when sort of Tyrod was out and Tommy stepped in, it was exciting. Like, there was a bit of fanfare around it. There was a little bit of intrigue about what was happening. And then he started playing not great, but not bad. Like, it was entertaining enough that the season kind of stopped being that rot for a little bit. Now, despite the decision being veiled as a football decision, let's not kid anyone. The injury guarantee was 100% the reason. And within 24 hours, Jones was the 4th quarterback behind Tim Boyle. Do you want a funny stat?
Go on.
Up until the Commanders game, just under 3 weeks ago, Tim Boyle had thrown more touchdowns at MetLife than Jones in the last 2 years.
One?
I think it was one. Yeah, I think it was one. I think it was one. But yesterday we had the emotional goodbye from Jones. He thanked everyone from the Mara and Tish families, every one of his teammates, the fans. He took responsibility for the team's shortcomings as, you know, a captain and a quarterback should, I guess. You know, you are the leader of the team at quarterback. It's all eyes are on you as in the position. You are de facto the most valuable player normally on a team, and it didn't happen during his 6 years. He did get emotional talking about the support from his teammates, and then revealed that he was requesting his release. And then today we got the following statement from John Mara. Daniel came to see me this morning and asked if we would release him. We mutually agreed that this would be best for him and the team. Daniel has been a great representative of our organisation, first class in every way. His handling of the situation yesterday exemplifies just that. We're all disappointed at how things have worked out. We hold Daniel in high regard and have great appreciation for him. We wish him nothing but the best in the future. I think if you kind of look at it, though, things like these happen in everyday life, don't they, at the end of the day? And yes, he got paid a lot of money, but it's kind of both the focus and both regardless of it in the same sentence. It's, you know, as somebody in the public eye, a lot more sort of focus is put on it, but that's just what it is. You know, unfortunately now we're going to look back at Jones's time with the Giants as a failure. I think that it's the only way you can look at it. We had exciting moments amongst mediocrity. The debut, ironically, as Dan has said, against the Buccaneers. The Packers game, you know, the Packers game was great. The playoff win against the Vikings, like none of us expected that Daniel to turn up, and then a week later, obviously, it went to shit against the Eagles. But that's just kind of how it is. Yeah. Dan, the writing was on the wall. The timing was then accelerated with the farewell presser, which kind of revealed the hand, and then today's statement on the release. There was a report going around that Jones offered to waive the injury guarantee. What did you make of that? And should the Giants have taken him up on it?
For me, it's a tough one. I think if the injury guarantee was waived, would he still be on the team? Maybe. I don't know. I'm sure his agent probably would have had something to say about it as well. Probably would have advised him against it. But I think that kind of shows the type of person he is. Like he obviously is quite loyal, and he's always seemed like that consummate professional. He's always come out and, you know, when there's been a loss, he's taken the blame for it. He's said, you know, it's on me. You know, I've got to do better. And he has been that team captain. He's been the leader. And, you know, you mentioned about obviously the press conference yesterday and being emotional after, you know, when they were talking about his teammates and everything. I'm not surprised. he was emotional because he has been a leader on this team for 6 years. And when somebody like Dex is singing your praises and you know, and talking about you in the way he did, you know, I'm not surprised he got emotional. And I get having him on the team as well may have helped, like DeVito with his sort of development over the next few weeks, and you know, so he's got sort of an experienced veteran to turn to if he needs advice and help and whatever. But you know, he's now got Locke as his backup, and the other guy who I can't even remember his name, Todd something, I don't know. But I think it just seems to me, if the fact that he offered to waive his injury clause and they flat out just refused it. If that's how it went, I don't know. But it just seems to me like they just wanted to cut ties now rather than delay the inevitable. You know, we could have waited till the end of the season and kept him on and used him as a sort of a mentor almost. But I think everybody was at the point where it was just best to say goodbye now and let him go his own way and let him do his own thing, sort of thing. And I think in Mara's statement, I think it was quite obvious to me as well, and it seemed like it was DJ who initiated that chat by what he said. He said he came to see him this morning. So it's almost like, okay, he's gone to see him to ask him for his release, and it's like, so he knows, like, the team have said no, we're not going to waive your injury clause. He knows it's his time has come, and so rather than be sacked, he's handed in his resignation sort of thing. He's done the thing that was right for him, and it says to me he wanted to go out on his terms rather than be used as a scout team safety. Which, in all honesty, I mean, I get the thinking behind it from the coaches, but to almost like parade him out there on the field as a scout team safety is a bit of a dick move, I think, and just I don't know, it kind of left a bit of a sour taste in the mouth.
I don't know if you've read the report, but it was Jones who volunteered for that. He was.
Oh, was it? Okay, then
yeah,
Jones.
Yeah, Jones turned around and basically said that he wanted to. He saw that there was a gap there, and he willingly went out onto the field to do it, which I think just shows the man, the mettle of the man, and what he was like as a leader. Kev, what are your thoughts on the injury clause being waived? Because I just feel like his agents would have stepped in and been a bit like, have a think about this, because Dable said that it didn't matter. By all reports, Dable said it didn't matter. It was, the decision was there either way. What are your sort of thoughts on this?
Well, the thing is, if he waives the clause, it makes no real difference in my opinion, because he's not getting the money. He was either a case of they're benching him to be a fourth string QB, which essentially you're not going to be one. That's why they brought the legend that is Tim Boyle in, because he's going to sit in the practice squad and be the emergency quarterback if DeVito goes down. He'll be the backup to Drew Lock. So he was never going to see the field at all. So he was never going to get injured. So he was never going to get the injury guarantee. So whether the agent advised, it makes no real difference. The only thing would be like, if he offered to do it, to stay on the team and try and go and win. But I think that Dable and Joe Sheehan have made a decision now to move on from Daniel Jones, regardless of injury clause or anything. So, but for me, it goes to show to me what Daniel Jones is. He's a stand-up guy. Like, he could have, he willing to waive it just to go out there and prove that he can still play and try and do something on the field. Says a lot about his character. Now, the problem is the product he's put on the field hasn't been good enough for Giants to win games, and he admits that. And Dable and Sheehan now have made that decision that we are going to move on. We're in a position now where we are striking distance to getting a top quarterback in this coming draft, and I believe that's what they're going to do. So they made the decision. Daniel Jones, obviously, now that the decision's been made, he wants his release, which is absolutely fair, because it makes no difference whether he's with the team now or we cut him at the end of the season. The financials are exactly the same. It makes no difference whatsoever, regardless of injury clauses or not. The only upsetting thing I put in the group earlier on is that it's trivial, but us releasing him now means he's not part of the comp pick formula or anything like that. So we'll get no comp pick for him, obviously, because they are for expiring contracts. So if he goes and signs with the 49ers or someone now for the rest of the season and then becomes a free agent in the offseason, he would count against the 49ers comp pick formula, which is just a little bit of a weird one. But just to speak about Daniel Jones, he come in and he has held himself and he's carried himself so well. If you could have a model professional attitude, the way you carry yourself, he's that. He is that. And in the NFL nowadays, where there's, in my opinion, so many Egypts, it's refreshing when you get someone like that who is just a down-to-earth, quiet fella who goes about his business the right way. Again, I said it before. The problem was the production on the field didn't translate. And this is a production business. And Brian Dable and Joe Sheehan want to keep their jobs. And unfortunately, with Daniel Jones's on-field production meant that they had to take the starting job away from him. And it hurts a little bit more. Well, not hurts, so that's a bit strong, but it just irks me a little bit more in the sense that, like, I became a fan in '07 when Eli was in his pomp, and we had Eli Manning, who was that guy, the consummate professional, and did it on the field. Now, Eli has haters. He will get a first ballot Hall of Fame. He will go in the Hall of Fame this year for reasons we can go into in the offseason. But like, to have that longevity of never missing games and being thereabouts, winning 2 Super Bowls, and then going on to Daniel Jones, you kind of hoped that would carry on. No, it didn't, but you had someone who was like Eli off the field. But the problem was he wasn't like him on the field, and we stuck with him because our franchise believes in sticking with people and seeing things through. Like, we're not a franchise who chops and changes quarterbacks every year, like free agency, draft, fail, free agency, draft, fail, free agency, draft. Like, we don't do that. We've never done that.
We're not the
Jets. So we wanted Daniel Jones to work out, and there's no shame in that. There's no shame in wanting Daniel Jones, because he had all the tools, but he just. I said it before. I think we broke him. I think we didn't put him in a position to win. I think mentally he just wasn't able to make the plays he needed to make to elevate the team. And we have to move on now. And it is a shame because he's a good guy, but there is business and there is, that human element, and they can be different. It doesn't have to be you're paying him $40 million, so he has to produce on the field, or he's a dickhead because you were paying him $40 million. He's not good. That's 2 things can be different. He can be a really good bloke, and you can feel for him in this position because he's lost his job. There's only 32 starting jobs in the NFL, and he's lost his now, right? So you can feel for him in that respect that, he might have been done dirty or whatever, like people's opinions are people's opinions. And yes, he was given a contract. But he was given a contract for the situation we've talked about many times in the past because he had that brilliant season and circumstances dictated he got it. But I'll stop my rambling now. But it's just. I wanted him to succeed like we all did, and that didn't happen. And he held his head high, and you just have to feel for him. And we can do that today. And tomorrow we can move on and not speak about Daniel Jones again and talk about the Giants going forward. And this offseason, we will have a new quarterback for 2025. And we can look forward to that. But today we can say it's a bit shit for Daniel Jones, but tomorrow we will move on.
If anybody's got a season-long rant table, I think we've now got 4 for 4. That's all of us. That was Kev's. Mine was the Smith-Marset one last week. Shane's was week 1 after 5 minutes, probably. And Dan's was a few weeks ago, I think. So there we go. Full house on the rant. I just want to fire through the next bit, because obviously we've spoken about Daniel Jones quite a lot here now. But I've seen some comments firing about, I won't bring them all up, about him going to the Cowboys before Thanksgiving and playing against us then, or going to the 49ers, or going to the Eagles. Or at the end of the day, he's not a Giant anymore, so I don't really care where he goes. He can go wherever he wants, and if he does well, then good for him. But if by some crazy way he goes to Dallas on a short week, manages to get up to speed and beats us, what does it change for our season? Like, actually, what does it change for our season? If anything, if he beats us, we get a higher draft pick. We still don't win. Who cares? Like, literally, who cares where he goes? Yeah, exactly. It's like, people saying, oh, if he goes there, Joe Shane should definitely be fired. Why? Joe Shane doesn't mold the quarterback as a coach. To me, it's a moot point. It really is. He can go wherever he wants. If I was Daniel Jones, I'll be looking at Brock Purdy with an injured shoulder, going straight to the 49ers and going, you know what? They got some weapons there. I could quite easily get a cheeky ring here. Like,
that weather's nice too.
The weather's pucker.
Storage franchise.
Bill knows some, if he fancies a trip down to California, there's some pizzerias, I'm sure. Right, we move on. DeVito and Locke, apparently close, but apparently probably having some different feelings about the way that things were shaken out. Locke was signed to a $5 million contract in the offseason, still the backup. DeVito has vaulted him into the starting job. He was asked on Wednesday, this is Locke, about it, and he said, if you get to be the backup all year and the time comes you end up still being a backup, you're upset. Definitely disappointed is what he said. Now, I get it. I also get the kind of hoopla around the fact that we paid DeVito $5 million to sit on a bench, but is $5 million really a massive amount of money in the grand scheme of things with a salary cap? It's one player, isn't it? It is a player.
We need a backup for 1 year.
Yeah, exactly. So, and this is the way that I look at things. DeVito gets another opportunity to show that he could be like that cheap bridge quarterback, or the backup quarterback next year when we draft someone high. Like, that's the opportunity, and the word there is cheap, because quarterback is one issue. We have a lot of other issues that we need to spend some money on this offseason.
Yeah.
Now, DeVito's not getting any reassurances that this is a rest of the season job. Dave said, I'm not going to say what it's going to be. I'm going to focus on the week with Tampa. I'm going to try to do the best job we can to get Tommy ready so he can go out there and perform at the highest level he can. So we could see Locke. We could end up seeing Locke. If DeVito goes in there and looks like a deer in the headlights and gets absolutely slammed, then, it could happen. It could happen. Kev, I'll come to you first. Now, I went back and watched our was it our preview or our review? I think it might have been the review of the Commanders game. And I said to Dan and to Shane, one word, no explanation, who is the next starter for the New York Football Giants? Dan said Locke. Shane said Locke. Nostradamus here said DeVito. What are your thoughts on starting Tommy over Locke? And does Locke have a right to be disappointed that he's not the next man up?
So two things can be true. Yes, Locke has the right to be disappointed. He was assured, as much as you can be, the backup job. He come in. Tommy DeVito was the third string quarterback. Drew Lock had played in this league, drafted the second round, started games in this league for another team. Giants went out and swooned him, canoodled him, got him over here, got him to sign. He had other offers with the thing that, Daniel Jones has injury history. And so you have a chance to play here. So, of course, he's going to feel that way. But I think everything needs context. And I think in the current situation, Daniel Jones will not be on this team next year, obviously, and Drew Lock hasn't shown enough in practice, obviously, to be able to take this team go forward. So he is on a 1 year deal. So he will not be on this team next year. They will go out and they could go out and look for another backup. So that's being said, the only quarterback currently on the Giants, or this week has been on this week on the Giants, that will be on the team next year is Tommy DeVito. So if he is the only one going to be here next year, why not see what he's got? He went out there and lifted the fan base with some wins last year and some giving it all the Tommy Cutlets and all type of carry on. So if he's the only quarterback going to be on the team next year, why not give him a little bit of a run and see what he's able to do? Now he knows the offense. He's been in the offense for 2 years now. And he got some wins last year. And also there is an element of appeasing the fan base to a certain extent. Do you know what I mean? With everything I just said, you're bringing someone like that in, might get a few more bums on seats, because if Drew Lock was in there, I think we could see like a pure Buccaneers home game on Sunday. So yeah, I think it's a case of, let's see what DeVito's got. Can he be the backup? Because whoever we draft in this draft, make no bones about it, is going to start next year. Let's be honest. I can't really see a way now in modern NFL where you do have that bridge, where you have someone like Darnold come in for McCarthy. McCarthy got injured, so Darnold started. I think that's ideal, but I don't think it happens as much anymore. So I think whoever we draft in the first 5 picks of this coming NFL draft will be shoot in as a starter. Now, can Tommy be the backup?
Dan, let's ignore the sort of Lock disappointment side of things. Tommy for the rest of the season, is that, as Kev says, the right choice for putting bums in seats and as Mayo says here, showing development could save Dable's job?
Yeah, I think so. Everyone's talking about that sort of spark that DeVito can bring. Hopefully we see that spark, but I can't see that spark. being with Drew Lock under centre. We saw him in the preseason. He didn't look great. We saw him for a few the second half of whatever the game was, I can't remember, a few weeks back. And again, he didn't look great when DJ got benched. He didn't look great. So what we've seen of Drew Lock hasn't been fantastic. So it's a case of, all right, let's give DeVito the chance. Obviously, Lock's disappointed, and fair enough. I wouldn't be surprised he's disappointed. But I think starting DeVito is definitely the right choice. I think he just has that aura about him, that little bit of confidence, the whole, that is, like you said, going to put bums in seats. If Drew Lock was starting, like Kev said, chances are the stadium would be 3/4 empty, or at least that quarter that was in there probably be Bucs fans. So at least people will be at least a little bit excited. And there is that sort of like that feeling that, DeVito came in last year, won 3 games. Comes in this year, can he win 2-3 games? Because at the end of the day, you play the game to win. And I think he, out the next 7 weeks, he could potentially get 2-3, maybe even more wins. I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping, but I think he could bring more to this offense than Drew Lock can. And I think Dave's is right to start him. And Dave's job is, his seat's getting a bit warmer, so he needs to do something. And so I think developing DeVito and showing that he's developed him from this undrafted rookie free agent last season into a relatively competent starting NFL quarterback, for 7 games, that shows promise, and that shows hope that Dave's is the one.
So, Kev, before I hand over to you to take us through your things to watch, I just want to read something out. Have you seen the quote from Sean Stellato, DeVito's agent? He was talking to Schrager, and he came up with just an absolute. I've never heard this before, and he said he made it up, and I think it's brilliant. Tommy DeVito, he had to walk the glass mountain barefoot.
I'm sorry.
Wow. Okay.
Any ideas what the hell that means?
Wow.
Yeah. Right, Kev. Things to watch.
Just a quick note of what Dan was saying as well. Like, I think saw today that Thanksgiving game, Giants at Dallas, Jerry World.
Super Rush.
You can get tickets for like $50. Like, there's so many tickets on sale.
25
now.
Yeah, man.
I mean, that's crazy. But anyway, sorry. Yeah, things to watch for this game. All right. So I was there thinking last night. Okay, what should we be watching out for this game? How can the Giants go and win this game Sunday night? And my first thought was, don't go and win it. I mean, Shane will be so happy now. He'll be like a proud papa, like give it a like, because Kev is on that train. I'm like, we need to move on now, and we need to get a quarterback, and so let's go out, be respectable, keep it close, but let's, maybe not win the game, but I am looking forward to seeing like Evan Neal as well. The offensive line, we always talk about it, it's been an issue for so long. And this year we saw so much growth and so much promise and so much good play that we haven't seen in recent years. Now, Evan Neal had, I think, the disaster that was Munich on the pitch, on the field. I thought Evan Neal had a really solid game. I thought he had a really solid game. And I just really hope that he can build on that and go forward and actually, because, he's got a career that he really wants to try and revive. Again, whether it be with us or whether it be somewhere else. So I'm looking forward to seeing if he can sort of build on the solid start he had there in Munich. And then, he's a darling, isn't he? Tyrone Tracy. I want to get him the ball early and often. When a player fumbles the ball, a running back fumbles the ball, like most NFL coaches, the next play, give him the ball. You give him the ball to get, that confidence back up again to say, look, I have trust in you. I have faith in you. The problem is with the fumble he had, it was pretty much game ending, and he's had to wait 2 whole weeks to be able to get the ball in his hand again. And I just hope it doesn't play with his mind too much, So I want to get Tyrone Tracy the ball. I want to get it to him early and often, and I want to sort of like start developing his game now going forward, because he will be a key piece for us next year. And again, on that note as well, tight end Johnson. I want to see Johnson involved in the game as well. Like like I said, I want to see these type of players on offense getting involved because we will need to rely on Johnson, Neighbors, Tyrone Tracy. That's a decent core like of attacking players. So I want to see them get involved in the game. So we talked about their the Bucs sort of like defense. Marianne explained it really, really well. But Dan, how do you think we should attack the Tampa Bay defense this week?
I think it's obviously with DeVito under center. Obviously, he's not seen the field since last year. He's going to be rusty. Give it to Tyrone Tracy. Start the game off. Run the ball. Get that run game sort of bedded in, and just allow DeVito a bit of time just to settle himself into the game. Tampa giving up over 125 yards a game on the ground. Tracy's averaging 105 yards per game over the last 3 weeks. It just says run the ball. And obviously with Illuminor and Neal on the offensive line, I think they've set the edges quite well. Obviously Neal had an okay game against the Panthers. The inside three as well, interior three have been pretty solid. Just run the ball. And then, like I said, it allowed DeVito to settle in, set up some screens, maybe some play action, maybe some RPOs, and just start dumping the ball off to Theo Johnson. I think Wan'Dale Robinson could have a good game. That short, quick passes across the middle, the little slants across the middle,
he needs to have a good game as well.
Yeah, little flats, little curls, sort of out to the sideline as well. I don't expect DeVito to be throwing bombs and throwing dimes down to Neighbors and maybe even Hyatt if he gets on the field if Slayton's not good to go as well. But I expect to see a few attempts at that, but I could see it being a very similar sort of offense as we've seen with DJ over the last 10 weeks. Is that sort of very short yardage,
conservative,
short yardage passing game, and let the running backs do the jobs. And I think that's what we'll see on Sunday.
Yeah, brilliant. So with the O-line guru Sheehan not being here this evening, I'll have to go to his Lieutenant Craig. We signed Tyree Phillips. We brought in Hubbard, but he did go with Luminor and Neal tackles in Munich. Do you think they should stick with that tackle pairing, or do you think someone like Tyree should come in, who has played well for Dable in the past?
Yeah, I think it's too soon for Tyree Phillips to even be kind of called up from the practice squad. I think you're going to have a few weeks there. I have no issue with Tyree Phillips being called up as a backup, but not as a starter. I think you've moved that offensive line around enough. You found a happy medium, should we say, with Illuminor and Neal. Let's not say it was perfect, but it was better. Illuminor is obviously going to have had more time to really get used to switching from right tackle to left tackle, which you don't want to do halfway through the season. Like that's not really going to help anybody, but needs must sometimes with the way that the roster shakes out. Neal had a good game, going to be tougher against a better pass rush than the Panthers. And let's just see. I kind of think that it's got to the point now where I wouldn't change it at all for the rest of the season and just say to Evan Neal, you've got 7 games now to really prove that you've come on in 3 years. Because if he's getting beat again and again and again, so be it. Like it's not like it's going to cost us a playoff position now, is it? So
no,
I would literally just stick with that.
And Neal hasn't started under Priscillo yet. He only technically lost his starting job due to injury at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, I think it would be stupid to move away from Neal unless we see something in Tyree Phillips or Hubbard that Neal isn't doing. And I think it makes sense to keep it as it is and just roll with it. Like give DeVito the chance to set himself in and get used to who's around him as well. So. Yeah, that's my opinion. Defense, then let's roll through defense. I mean, it's. I mean, 2 things. Thibodeau back is a big plus, and I think he can help us in the area that we really need help, and that's run defense. Obviously, we're up against Baker Mayfield. like Craig said earlier, he's one of the league leaders in touchdown passes. He's got Mike Evans coming back. He's got Shep and the other receivers as well. And I think, we really run the risk of, especially if Banks is 1-on-1 against Mike Evans, he could have a field day against him at the moment. And I think we run the risk of giving up big yards through the air. But I think with the sort of dual-headed sort of beast that is the Tampa Bay backfield, you've got Bucky Irving and Rashad White. I think between them, they've got about 800 yards on the ground overall so far this year. 4.5 yards per carry. And I think we're giving up over 5 yards a carry to runners. And it's almost like we just need to do something to stop that run. And having Tibbs back allows us to do that. The first 5 weeks of the year, we weren't great, but we were better than what we have seen over the last 5 weeks. And the last 5 weeks, we're just shy of giving up 150 yards per game on the ground. Because the yardage we give up is outside the tackles, and we're not setting the edge properly. Aziz has struggled to set the edge. We know he's not great against the run. Having Tibbs back, having Burns on the other side, allows us to try, we can set that edge better. We can get off that tackle and make the tackle on the outside. And obviously with Dex in the middle, teams aren't going to run against Dex because they're not going to get anywhere. It's when Dex isn't on the field is the problem we have. And it's that depth on the D line we have. Nacho's not worked out. DJ Davidson is very hit and miss. He can have a good game, he can have a poor game, and we just don't seem to have that number 2 D lineman behind Dex. And it's frustrating because he's only seeing the field sort of 60-65% of the time, and so those 30-35% of the snaps he's not on the field, the opposition are running the ball and they're just running it down up the gut and 10-15 yards a go, and they're getting those big chunks. And we saw it against Carolina the first series in the second half. They came on the field, Dex wasn't on the field, and they just ran the ball against us because they could, and he wasn't on the field and he couldn't make the stops. But having Tibbs back is really key, I think, this weekend to stopping the run. According to PFF, we've missed 47 tackles against the run this year. 27 of those have been in the past 5 games. So that says to me we need to sort out tackling against the run. And that says to me, especially like I said, with giving up the yardage outside of the tackles, we really need to lock that down and get better. And having Tibbs back again is that big factor. He's on track to return on Sunday. Looks like he's going to be good to go. Whether he's got on a limited snap count, who knows? Remains to be seen. Obviously, he's coming off wrist surgery. So he's going to be a little bit maybe tentative about pushing it too much to start off with, see how it goes. But we need him to be back to his best. We all know, like I said, Aziz isn't a great run defender. But hopefully having Tibbs back as well, we see an improvement in the pass rush too. We've only had 1 sack in the last 2 games, so pass rush hasn't been where it was at to begin the season. We've now given up the league lead to the Broncos in terms of sack numbers. I think they're 3 ahead of us now. And also, it wouldn't hurt to get a turnover or 2, or God forbid, maybe even an interception. Still got that elusive one interception. That Mursal got in week 1. But we really need to get the sort of pressure on Baker to force him into making mistakes. He's only thrown, I think it's 4 interceptions all season. So he's not prone to just throwing the ball there, throwing the ball in when the pass isn't there. He's not prone to making mistakes. Or the last couple of years, even he's been fairly consistent, fairly just plays good quarterback. Just plays really well and really sensibly, and doesn't throw it in there when he's thrown into double coverage, triple coverage, whatever. He'll throw it away. He makes sensible decisions, and he's evolved as a quarterback, and he's become a better quarterback than what we saw in Cleveland, what we saw in LA and Carolina. These last two and a bit years in Tampa, he's really sort of come on as a quarterback, and I really like watching him. He's in my fantasy team, and he's getting me points week in, week out. So I'm sure he will get me some more points this week as well, which isn't a bad thing. But yeah, we really need to get pressure on him. We really need to sort of force him into making some mistakes. It's unlikely that he does make mistakes, but when he does make mistakes, he is known to throw an interception or 2. But we need to make a play on the ball. We need to get somewhere close to making a play on the ball, because we've been so far away. It's been a joke. Our defense.
Are you ready for a stat?
Go on.
This is a Giant Insider tweet that I saw earlier. Interesting but sad nugget. If the Giants don't get an interception Sunday, they will tie the NFL record for the longest pickless streak by any team since 1933.
Oh, fuck off. Could the season get any worse?
I just remember X posts and X posts that shit on the Giants. That's all I do. That's what I'm there for.
There's so many of them.
Yeah, and I mean, the way it's going as well, we're fully going to break that. We're fully going to break that record because it. I said Baker Mayfield doesn't throw interceptions, or he hasn't been throwing interceptions this season, 4 through 10 games. So it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult to force him to make mistakes, but we need to make those mistakes, and we need to just throw in a different look, and just play good defense, because what we've seen so far. I mean, granted, obviously, elements of the defense has been really good, but there's been some elements that just been bullshit. And Shane Bowen's he's got to do something, because it might even be squeaky bum time for Shane Bowen, because if you're ending the season with the league's worst run defense and only one interception, I'm sorry, does that cut it as a defensive coordinator in this league? Could we be looking for a new DC come the off season?
Someone's head could be on the chopping block.
Exactly. And if it ain't Dabe's, Kafka, whatever happens with Kafka, I mean, the fact that nobody's even mentioned Kafka this season says all, really.
Well, his contract's up, isn't it? So he'll just scurry away in the middle of the night.
So could we be looking for 2 new coordinators this off season? Because unless it depends what happens with Dave's, I suppose, but yeah, it could happen. But Tampa have given up 24 sacks so far this year. With the return of Tibbs, do we see a return to the success that we had in pass rush over the first 5 weeks, or do you think we still struggle to get to the quarterback?
I think we will get to the quarterback this week. I think Tibbs coming back is a huge factor as well. I think Brian Burns, you could leave on an island. He's phenomenal. I think he is as advertised. He's shown how good he is this year in most part. But I think the rotation of Tibbs and Aziz will be beneficial this week. I think them 2 sharing snaps will keep them fresh, and I think we'll see a couple of sacks.
Nice. Do you think it's a bit too early to tell whether Shane Bowen's on that hot seat, Craig, or do you think he's definitely one to watch out for?
I mean, he is going to be on the hot seat. Unfortunately, when you underperform as badly as you have done, even if it is your first year, you will be on the hot seat. I'm just getting kind of tired of us cycling through so much in the terms of coaching staff, and that's kind of one of my reasons that I kind of want Dave's to stick around, because I just feel like we have been a little bit too trigger happy sometimes. But things have got to change. It hasn't been good enough. The personnel doesn't help in a way. And there's definitely been some infighting in that defense. You can't tell me otherwise. But yeah, it is going to be hot. I just hope it doesn't get burnt at this point.
Yeah, I think, he's got to do something. He's got to change something. The personnel don't help, like you said. And, we talk about taking a quarterback in round 1 of the draft next year. God knows we need help in so many other positions. And D-line is one of them. Cornerback is one of them. Maybe even linebacker as well, because Michael McFadden and Bobby O have been off this season. So there's help we need on the defense, not just on the other side of the ball as well. So, do we go after that quarterback that we really need that's maybe not there, or do we actually look at getting the best player available and maybe taking a defensive player? Who knows? But Steve says, I don't think Bowen goes after the season. It's a young defense and the pieces are there. Just need a seasoned pro in the secondary. I couldn't agree with you more. I think give Bowen a second year and let's see what he can do with the improved personnel room.
Yeah, I think he's just quickly. I do think Bowen's trying to protect this young secondary, and that's why you're seeing a little bit of bend don't break defense from him. In flashes, though, we were talking about at the beginning of the season how good he was, because he was going out there and calling like exotic plays and stuff and getting to the quarterback.
Indeed. Yeah, but every now and again, just call one of those exotic plays and get to the quarterback, or make a pick, or do something. Do something. Don't just be like, come on, give me something. I want some excitement. I want something good to talk about when we're talking about defense. I don't want to talk about not having an interception. Not drive me mad. And the mad thing, and obviously the crazy thing is, obviously it's a linebacker, a rookie linebacker that has our only pick of the season. That literally says it all for our season so far on defense, is that the only interception is a rookie linebacker.
Me and Craig's been talking about offense all season. How do you think we feel?
Yeah, true that. Very true. Very true. I mean, I suppose the only saving grace is that at the start of the season we had the league leading sacks, and we were balling out on defense and we were keeping the games close. Whereas now we seem to be struggling a bit. Ben don't break, but we are still keeping games close at the end of the day, I suppose. So it's not all bad. And I think we might keep this game at the weekend close, but maybe not close enough. Craig, injury report. Do we have it?
Yeah, so Bryce Ford-Wheaton, Michael McFadden, Darius Musel, Malik Neighbours, Kayvon Thibodeau, all questionable. If you have a look at the Bucs, Jamal Dean, Mike Evans, Greg Gaines, Troy Hill, Zion McCullum, and Tristan Wirfs are all questionable, so you'd expect most of them to play. Tyke Smith, though, doubtful.
It doesn't look like he's going to go. It looks like he's going to be out this week.
That's huge.
Yeah.
He's had a really good rookie season.
Yeah, knee injury.
I've got him in an IDP league, and he's done well for me this year. So,
Dan, does that count as a run?
Yes,
a mini one.
Fuck it. Why not? Why not? Let's rant. Come on, mayonnaise.
At least I don't have to talk about special teams. So Smith Marset he's safe.
He's off the hook for 3 days, because come Monday when we review this game, he might be back on it.
Kev, just quickly before we do the prediction, Kev, did you hear Shane's point to me about Smith Marset?
No.
If Smith Marset scores a punt return touchdown before the end of the season, I have to buy his shirt.
Yes, I did watch that back. Yeah. I mean, I'm here for it. I am here for it.
Is that going to be a DHgate special?
That was that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah,
that might be sourced from somewhere other than NFL.com.
You'd have to get it custom, because they wouldn't sell it normally. Surely, surely. Would they fit his name on? There'd be too many characters. I don't know. Prediction time. All right then, viewers, get them in the comments. We want your predictions. We'll read them out at the end. If the offense could score 30 points, the defense is doing a good enough job. That's a big if. If the offense can score 30 points. As usual, predictions. I'm up first. Don't get me wrong. I think Tommy Cutlets has a solid first start. I think he brings that little bit of spark, little bit of sort of mojo, little bit of whatever you want to call it to the team, a little bit of excitement. But I don't see our home fortunes getting any better. 31-16 Bucs.
Who's next? Is it me?
Yeah, mate.
Piers.
Right. So yeah, I mean, very good, Dan. I mean, I put it down to simply the fact that they score 30 points, we don't. 33-17.
Oh, very close. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they put up points of fun, and having Mike Evans back, that was a caveat to mine. If Mike Evans is back, I think we've got no chance, and he's going to be back. So I think we don't win this weekend, and Kev's going the same way as me. How many Shane predicted Tampa winning by, Craig?
31-10 is Shane's.
10. I mean, that's a bit harsh.
Yeah.
Are you like Wolfing, Craig?
Do I look like an idiot? Don't answer.
Yeah.
No comments.
In the comments. Put it in the comments.
I genuinely can't remember why.
Just
bring up
on screen.
27-16.
Off the screen.
27-13. There you go. So again, I don't see us scoring that many. I think the offense will be out. I don't think the offense would be out there as little as they have been recently, so the defense will be better.
I'm sorry, mayonnaise, to let you down.
Can't predict losses, because that's we broke that streak earlier in the season, so no.
Yeah.
I did ask the question, though, didn't I, during the week?
Yeah. Is it reverse thinking? Kieran, going for some positivity, you're battling 24-20 undefeated. You know what? I'll take that. The defense keeping it close like that. Any other predictions? Steve, 28-13 Bucs. I only see one more win this season, and this isn't it. Ooh, okay. One more win. Mayonnaise, 34-30. Mate, if we can score 31 points.
Mayonnaise predicting a pick six in this as well?
I tell you what, if we only lose by 3 after scoring 31 points. Player of the game will have to come back next week. I mean, with a score like that, maybe not. I mean, that'll
be almost a shootout as well.
I mean, but how damning would it be? How damning would it be for us to score 30 plus points the week after Daniel Jones leaves the team?
Yeah. That would say, oh, wouldn't it? I'm holding you accountable if we win. By all means, hold us accountable. It's fine. We play football to win, remember? Do we have a tankathon update, Craig?
We do now. Unfortunately, Shane wasn't able to obviously make it onto the show tonight, but so we haven't got the normal tankathon thing. I will play the remix. Bear with me, callers.
Go on.
Do 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 do. Boom boom. Do 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 do. Boom boom. Do 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 do. Boom boom.
Boom boom.
Yeah. So the Giants, after last night's shocking win, I think.
Go on the Cleveland Browns.
The Giants are currently third in tankathon at the moment, picking third. Jacksonville are first, Tennessee are second, and we are third. The Raiders are fourth. Then you've got New England, the Jets, Cleveland, Carolina, Dallas, and New Orleans rounding out the top 10. Unfortunately, I don't have the fixture list in front of me, so I can't run through that. But, Jacksonville 1 game behind. They're 2-9. Us, the Titans, and the Raiders are at 2-8. So that's really where we need to look at. New England, the Jets, and now Cleveland are 3-8. So it always, kind of shuffles a little bit because of the strength of the schedule remaining and how that's being worked out at the moment. Obviously, that changes quite a lot. I think that's why we've dropped 2 spaces as opposed to just the 1 with the Browns coming above us, because the strength of schedule has obviously changed there. But that is the sort of brief, shall we say, tankathon update of what I've been able to do.
Jags are on bye week this week, and Tennessee are at Houston. They're the 2 teams above us. There you go. Tommy DeVito, the tank engine.
I love that. DeVito, Tommy the Tank Engine. That's great.
Fair play, mayonnaise. And yeah, they do. They do have to play each other twice.
That's a good point.
That could be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hope they don't end in ties.
I mean, would that hurt? Would that? I don't think. It's
better.
Ties
than
are
loss,
like,
it's not as good as
I was going to say ties are like wins for us now.
Yeah, I'll take 2 ties right now. Let's do it.
Yeah,
let's do it.
All right, college players.
Yep. So I'll cover Shane. Shane's actually said it's blurred through to me. So we'll pop them up on the screen as the players to watch while I load up Shane's blurb. He has gone for Walter Nolan from Old Miss Rebels. Moving on to the future.
That's who I've gone for.
Oh, is it how you've gone for? Sorry, it looked like he had gone. Oh, sorry, Kev. We've obviously got those mixed around. So he's gone for Chris Paul Jr. Sorry. Moving on to the future NFL player, Chris Paul Jr. found his way onto Ole Miss via the transfer portal after spending 3 years at Arkansas. I love calling them Arkansas.
Arkansas.
This is his first year with the Rebels. He's not disappointed, has easily shown why. Lane Kiffin was also keen to bring him to Eli Manning's Automator. Paul has 72 tackles with 3 missed tackles on the season, just over 4%. 1 forced fumble, currently posting a 90.9 defensive grade with an 85.4 tackling grade to go along with a 90.4 coverage grade and an 88.2 run D grade. For a team that consistently struggles to stop the run, I don't get why we choose to neglect linebacker. Sure, we've got Bobby O, who's having a bit of a down season compared to last, but we need to upgrade on McFadden, who is a free agent this year. I see no reason why, if he declares for the draft, Chris Paul could not be that guy for us. Currently, he feels like a linebacker who could go anywhere in the draft. I've seen him rocked in round 2. I've seen him rocked in round 7. He doesn't have ideal linebacker size. He's only 6'1", 235, but he is a physical player who certainly plays above his size. If he enters the NFL, he'll more than likely need to develop. But the fact that he's a semi-finalist for the Buccaneers Award shows how highly thought of as an LB he is at the collegiate level. He's a player, if you watch Ole Miss against Florida this weekend on Sky Sports, the good Florida, that is just to confirm. Wow.
Wow.
I can't believe he's got me to read that out.
He got you to read it. You walked into that one.
I did, didn't I? I was glazed over then as well, just reading it. Certainly look out. Then certainly watch out for number 11 every time that Ole Miss D steps onto the field. Kev, my apologies. You have Walter Nolan. Do you want to let us know about him?
Yeah, so I've gone for the similar thing. We don't talk about what players we go for. We kind of surprise each other. And I've gone for the 5 p.m. game, Ole Miss, Florida. That's on Sky Sports as well, because I thought people would be watching. Walter Nolan is a junior, 21. He might go back. Hopefully, he'll come out. 6'4", 305 pounds. He started 10 games last year, had 37 tackles, 4 sacks. In 12 games this year, he's got 32 tackles, 4 sacks. Basically, he was a 5-star recruit out of Tennessee. But I think he can make an immediate impact in the NFL from day one. He's a projected first-round player. He's got lightning quick off the snap. He's very powerful. He's versatile. He can play defensive end. He can play 3 technique. He played a 4-3 scheme, 3-4 scheme. He's really disruptive as a 3 tech. So can you imagine someone like that next to Big Sexy Dexy? It's kind of what we've been crying out for. He does need to get a little bit more. Yeah, he needs to get a little bit more consistent. Needs to refine his skill. He's a little bit raw, but I think he's a potential Pro Bowler. And like I said, he's a first-round projected player, but interior defensive linemen do tend to slide in the draft. So if he's around that early second, if we're picking early in the second, and he's kind of there, he would be a perfect player to slot right into the Sexy Dexy, right next to him.
Nice. We need help.
And then just being a bit greedy as well, looking at our needs. Again, same game. Cornerback, Trey Amos. He's a senior, a bit more of an older player, 23. 6'1", 190, great size. Played 10 games, 41 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 11 pass defended, 3 interceptions this season so far. He's a proper outside corner, scheme versatile, can play very good in press man coverage, very good in zone. Needs to develop his zone a little bit more. He's better in press man, but he's got good size and speed, good strength. So when he's very disruptive at the point of it, when they're jostling on the line and stuff like that. He's projected sort of like a 2nd-round pick. So again, we need cornerback, and I think he could be a starter, a solid starter in this league, and it could be someone we look at in the second day. But those are 2 players or 3 players from the Ole Miss game that people want to watch watch college football this Saturday on the Sky Sports NFL. Sort of look out for those.
I thought I'd look up who Florida State are playing this weekend, and I saw the word Charleston Southern,
wow,
who are 1-10 against the 1-9 FSU, who have just dismissed 3 assistants. And I was thinking to myself, I looked at the matchup predictor, and it was like 97.9% chance of winning for Florida State. And you know what? I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything because I literally don't trust it, because I know full well I'll turn around and go, "Oh, don't worry, we're playing Charleston Southern this weekend. We'll definitely win there, and we'll get back on next week, and I'll just have a bag over my head. It's not even worth me showing my face anymore."
And I'll say, Craig, what was the FSU score? And you'll say, Charleston Southern 110-7.
Yeah. Charleston Southern won 40-3 or something.
Imagine.
I'm not saying anything.
But there you go. There's a couple of players now to watch especially if you're watching the games on Saturday afternoon, and we'll see how they perform.
Ole Miss, obviously good links to the Giants, Eli Manning. Yeah, there you go. Check them out. All right, unfortunately, that is all we have time for this evening. We'll be back on Monday at 8:30. That's Monday, not Tuesday, as it is a short week, with a showdown of the year coming up on Thanksgiving Day. Cooper Rush against Tommy DeVito at Jerry World. I can't wait. I can't wait to put one over on the Cowboys.
The crumbling Jerry World.
The crumbling Jerry World. You see that absolute lump of metal falling off the roof when it was opening the other day.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And how good is it? How sweet is it to see the Cowboys losing as bad as they are? It makes me feel warm inside. Anything else to add before we go, guys?
No, just a good crack getting on tonight, lads. Again, brilliant guests as always. Like I do love getting the guests on and ask them questions and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, sad to see Danny go, but we move on and we will look forward to next year. Well, the rest of the season, and we'll see where we are next year.
I thought Kev was just going to start with, "Oh, Daddy boy."
And the tears start streaming.
The salute, the one tear. This has been the most chaotic week we've had for a while, I think, in the terms of the amount of times we've had to readjust and reevaluate what we're going to talk about. Obviously, it's been a really long podcast. It's been a longer podcast than we've tried to cut it down to recently, but for good reason. So thank you to everyone who's still kind of sticking around. Thanks for everyone getting involved in the comments. And look forward to hopefully a few weeks where we can talk about something other than Daniel Jones and we can just sort of focus on what's happening, because we've still got 7 games to play and there's a lot of tough ones.
Yeah. And we will be here for all of them as well.
Mm-hmm.
We absolutely will be. Yeah, you said obviously we've got 7 games to go. I think there are some winnable games in there. There are some games that are easier maybe to win, but we also got some tough ones as well. But every week's going to be tough from now on. And I think whatever happens the rest of the season, the past is behind us now. We've got to look forward. And I think we've probably talked about Daniel Jones for the last time on this podcast, which is probably a good thing. We've moved past him now. But yeah, looking forward to the game on Sunday. Looking forward to DeVito being under center and seeing what he can bring and just how this team is moving forward. I think if we lose all 7 games for the rest of the season, we know where we're at. We're probably with a number 1 overall pick. If we chalk up a couple of wins the rest of the way, then all right, okay, fair enough, But remember, we play this game to win, and we all like to see wins, no matter what position we're in. Big thanks to Marianna for coming on earlier. We really appreciate her time. It was a great interview, so we'll definitely have you back on next time we play the Bucs, whenever that may be. Make sure you check out our socials for the latest news. Like I said, we are on Blue Sky now. Give us a follow on there if you are on there. We'll see you on Twitter or X, wherever it's called, YouTube, all the other channels, platforms. Give us a follow, give us a like. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube if you haven't already. Give the episode a big thumbs up, and feel free to give us a review on your platform of choice. Thanks to everyone that has been watching and commented along this evening. We really appreciate it as usual, and everyone to your predictions. Our thanks on this podcast go to Daniel Jones for the past 5.5 years. It may not have been pretty, it may not have been successful, but we appreciate you. We appreciate everything you've done for this organisation, and we wish you nothing but the best for the future. Constant professional as always, and you've gone out on your terms. Fair play. Good luck to you, my friend. As they say, once a giant, always a giant. My thanks as ever go to Kev and to Craig for joining me, to you, the viewers and listeners, for tuning in. We're signing off. Until next time, let's go Giants.